Subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts. The seat given away. Her phone buzzed once. Then again. The third time, it was a video. Sarah stared at the screen in disbelief. Her husband, David, was on it, kissing someone else, in the hospital where their baby had just died. The room was familiar. The same ward where she had spent days praying for their child's survival. Her fingers trembled, the phone slipping from her grasp and clattering against the cold floor. She sank into the airplane seat, her heart pounding louder than the engine's roar. Around her, the cabin was quiet, but inside, chaos raged. David had left her, betrayed her in the worst place possible, and she was trapped, thousands of feet above the ground, with nowhere to run. The flight attendant's voice crackled over the intercom, announcing they were preparing for takeoff. Sarah's mind was elsewhere, replaying the video again and again, his smile, her tears, the secret they had hidden from her. But that wasn't the only thing tearing at her. Earlier that day, David had done something unexpected, something kind. He gave up his first-class seat to a pregnant woman, a stranger. Sarah had barely understood why until now. The woman, tall and graceful, had smiled softly at David as she sank into the plush leather seat. But then, moments later, her phone buzzed, and everything changed. Sarah glanced around nervously. The other passengers chatted quietly, unaware of the storm brewing just a few rows ahead. Why had David been so generous? Why had he sacrificed comfort for a stranger when he couldn't even save his own marriage? A sudden noise pulled Sarah from her thoughts. A creak from the overhead compartment. She turned sharply, heart racing. The cabin door was slightly ajar. Someone was coming. She didn't know if she wanted to hide or face whatever was coming. Next, this flight, this moment, would change everything. Sarah's story was supposed to be about healing, about moving on after the loss of their baby. But now, with betrayal twisting the knife deeper, she wondered if she could ever trust again. She looked down at the note clutched in her hand, the one she'd found earlier in David's jacket pocket, a message scrawled hastily with words she couldn't fully understand. "Meet me at the old pier, tonight. Don't tell her." Her breath caught. What secret was David hiding? The pregnant woman in first class. Could she be part of this mystery? Questions spun in her mind as the plane began its final ascent. The clouds outside looked soft, but inside Sarah, everything was stormy. She wiped tears from her cheeks, anger mixing with sorrow. How had it come to this? As the plane leveled out, a voice whispered in the back of her mind, "You don't know the whole story yet." Suddenly, a hand touched her shoulder. She jumped, turning to see the pregnant woman, her eyes kind but serious. "I know what you're feeling," the woman said softly, "but you need to hear the truth, and it's not what you think." Sarah stared at her, confused, the note still clenched tight. The woman glanced around, lowering her voice. "You have no idea what this man is really capable of, or what he's been running from." A cold shiver ran down Sarah's spine. The mystery was deeper than she'd imagined, and this flight was only the beginning. Secrets in the sky. Sarah's breath hitched as the pregnant woman's words echoed in her ears. "You have no idea what this man is really capable of, or what he's been running from." She looked around the cabin, searching for a safe place to talk. The woman gestured to an empty row a few seats away. "Let's sit. There's no time to waste." Sarah followed, heart pounding. The woman settled into the seat, cradling her belly protectively. "I'm Naomi," she said quietly. "And I owe your husband a debt I'm still paying." Sarah blinked, confusion swirling with suspicion. "What do you mean? Why did he give you his seat?" Naomi's eyes darkened with a sadness that felt familiar. "Because he's a good man, trapped in a terrible situation, one that's about to explode." Sarah swallowed hard. She wanted to hate David, to scream at him for every lie, every broken Promise, but Naomi's words planted a seed of doubt. Tell me everything, Sarah whispered. Naomi took a deep breath. David and I have history. Years ago, before you met him, he saved my life. I was running from a dangerous man. A man who wanted to destroy me. Sarah's heart clenched. Why didn't he tell me? Naomi shook her head. He thought he was protecting you, but the danger never went away. That man is still out there, and David's past is catching up with him. Sarah's mind raced. Was this why David had been so distant, so secretive? What happened to you? She asked. Naomi's voice dropped to a whisper. I was pregnant just like me now. David helped me get away, but the man found me again. I lost everything, my family, my home. The only reason I'm alive is because of David's sacrifice. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. The woman's story mirrored her own pain, loss, fear, helplessness. But why tell me now? Sarah demanded. Because the danger isn't just mine anymore, Naomi said, glancing nervously toward the cockpit. It's yours too. Sarah's phone buzzed again. She glanced down, heart sinking. Another message from an unknown number. Stop asking questions or you'll regret it. Her hands shook. The note in her pocket felt heavier than ever. Naomi reached out, placing a steady hand over Sarah's. You need to be careful. David didn't just give up his seat for kindness. He was trying to protect you. A sharp pain hit Sarah's chest. Protect her from what? The plane hit a patch of turbulence, rattling the cabin. Passengers murmured anxiously. Sarah felt like she was on a roller coaster, not just in the air, but in her mind. Hours passed as Naomi shared what she knew. The man chasing her, a powerful figure with enemies everywhere, had his sights set on David now. Sarah's world spun. She had thought her biggest battle was grief over her lost child, but now it was survival. Naomi's words painted a chilling picture. David's generosity, his sudden disappearances, the secret meetings he'd sneaked away for, all part of a desperate attempt to keep Sarah and their unborn baby safe. But where is he now? Sarah asked, voice cracking. Naomi looked away, pain flickering in her eyes. He left this flight, before it took off. Sarah's breath caught. What? How? Why didn't he say goodbye? Naomi's gaze was haunted. Because he knew the danger would come for him first. He wanted you to be safe, to think he abandoned you, but he's fighting a war you don't understand. Sarah sank back into her seat, the weight of Naomi's revelation crushing her. David wasn't the man she thought she knew, and she wasn't sure if the man in that video was her husband or a stranger playing a part. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. You're next. Panic surged through her veins. The plane felt smaller, the walls closing in. Naomi stood, determination flashing in her eyes. We have to prepare. We don't know who to trust. Sarah nodded, steeling herself. She would face this darkness, whatever it took. Just then, the cabin lights flickered. The captain's voice came on, calm but urgent. Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please remain seated. Sarah's eyes met Naomi's. This flight, this moment, it was no accident. Someone was watching, waiting, and the real nightmare was only beginning. Shadows unveiled. The hum of the plane's engines was a dull roar in Sarah's ears, but her mind raced with every fragment of Naomi's story. David's sudden disappearance, the cryptic threats, the secrets buried beneath years of silence. It was like her entire world had been rewritten in the span of a single flight. Sarah pressed her palms against the cold window, watching the endless stretch of clouds blur past. Somewhere out there, David was fighting a battle she couldn't yet see, and she was caught in the storm's eye. Naomi sat beside her, rubbing her swollen belly with gentle insistence. You have to be strong, Sarah. This isn't just about revenge or betrayal anymore. It's survival. Sarah swallowed hard. But why me? Why drag me into this? Naomi's eyes softened. Because he loves you. He's trying to protect you. But protection sometimes means pushing people away, even the ones you love most. Sarah closed her eyes, the weight of loss and betrayal crashing down. She remembered the night David had left their home, the silence that followed like a suffocating fog. The night spent questioning everything she thought she knew about him, and now the truth felt like a puzzle, missing half its pieces. Suddenly, a sharp vibration startled them both. Sarah's phone lit up again, a new message. "Meet me at the old pier, midnight alone, or else." Her heart thudded painfully. Who was watching her? How did they know where she'd be? And what awaited her at this old pier Naomi had mentioned? Naomi's gaze hardened. "We can't ignore this. You have to go, but not alone." Sarah shook her head, tears threatening to spill. "I don't even know who to trust." Naomi's voice dropped. "Trust no one but me. And remember, appearances can be deceiving." Hours crawled by as the plane descended toward its destination. Sarah's mind spun through every detail she'd learned. The threatening messages, the mysterious man pursuing Naomi and David, the note left in David's jacket. Was David a hero, a criminal, or both? As the wheels touched down with a jolt, the cabin erupted into quiet murmurs of relief, but Sarah felt only a hollow ache. The air outside was sharp, thick with the scent of salt and rain. Naomi reached into her bag, pulling out a folded piece of paper. "It's a map," she explained, "to the pier. But be careful. You're not the only one watching." Sarah folded it carefully, slipping it into her pocket. Her phone buzzed again. No new message, just a blank screen. An ominous silence. At midnight, the pier lay shrouded in fog, ghostly and silent. Sarah approached slowly, her heart hammering in her chest. The air was cold, biting, but she didn't turn back. A figure stepped out of the shadows. Tall, dark, unfamiliar. "Sarah," a voice said softly, "you're braver than I expected." Her breath caught. "Who are you?" He smiled thinly. "Someone who knows your husband very well, and who knows why he left." She braced herself. This was the moment all her questions collided. He told her the story, a tangled web of betrayal, lies, and long-buried secrets. David wasn't just running from a dangerous man. He was running from a brother who had once been his closest ally, but had turned against him for reasons Sarah couldn't yet grasp. Their family had been torn apart by greed, jealousy, and betrayal. And David's disappearance wasn't just about survival, it was about redemption. "Your husband gave everything to protect you," the man said. "But sometimes the past catches up in the worst ways." Sarah's mind reeled. A family feud, secrets hidden in silence. The man handed her a small, worn photograph. It was David and Naomi, but not as she knew them. Instead, younger, laughing, free. "Before the darkness," he said. Sarah clutched the photo, tears blurring her vision. Everything was more complicated than she'd imagined, and the night was far from over. The web tightens. The fog clung to Sarah's skin like a cold whisper as she held the photograph tightly. David and Naomi, once innocent and free, now caught in a world far darker than she had ever imagined. The man's words echoed in her mind. "Before the darkness." The stranger's face was hard in the moonlight, but there was a hint of sadness beneath the surface. "You need to know everything, Sarah. Your husband's past isn't just a story, it's a battle that never ended." Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on her. Why did David leave without saying goodbye? Why keep me in the dark? He looked away for a moment, then back. Because he wanted you safe, but also because he didn't know whom to trust. His own blood turned against him. The words hit her like a punch. Family betrayals cut the deepest. Sarah's mind flashed back to the whispered arguments she'd overheard between David and his brother years ago. She'd never understood what they were about, until now. Naomi's voice came over the phone as Sarah stepped back into the dim light of her hotel room. "I've been tracking the threats. They're closer than we thought." Sarah ran her fingers over the photo again. "Who are these people? What do they want?" Naomi sighed. "Power, revenge, and to bury David's truth forever." Sarah felt the coldness of isolation creeping in. She had lost her child. Her marriage was in ruins, and now her husband's secrets threatened to consume her. But somewhere inside, a fire sparked. That night, Sarah couldn't sleep. She paced the room, the phone screen lighting up repeatedly, with more cryptic messages. "Stop digging or you'll regret it. You're next." She realized this wasn't just about David or Naomi, it was about her. Her survival depended on uncovering the truth before it was too late. The next morning, Sarah met Naomi at a quiet cafe near the docks. Naomi looked exhausted but determined. "I've found something," Naomi said, sliding a folder across the table. "Old documents, photos, anything that might explain why David's brother turned on him." Sarah flipped through the pages. Business deals gone wrong, family disputes, and a mysterious disappearance that had never been solved. "His brother wasn't just angry," Naomi said quietly. "He was hiding something terrible." Suddenly, the cafe door opened, and a shadow crossed the threshold. Both women froze. A tall man in a dark coat scanned the room, his eyes locking onto them. He didn't approach, but lingered just long enough to make them uneasy. Sarah's heart pounded. The threats were no longer just words, they were real. Back at her hotel, Sarah stared at the photo again and noticed something new, a small inscription on the back. "For better days, never forget who we were." Tears filled her eyes. She realized David had once been a different man, a man who had loved, fought, and hoped. Could that man still be saved? As evening fell, Sarah received an unexpected call. "Sarah, it's David." Her breath caught. The voice was real, trembling with urgency. "They're coming for you. You need to disappear, now." The line went dead. Sarah dropped the phone, heart racing. The danger was no longer a story. It was here, and she was running out of time. Running through shadows, Sarah's hands trembled as she stared at the phone, the last word from David echoing in her mind. "Disappear, now." Her world spun into chaos. She had no idea where to go, who to trust, or what awaited her outside this hotel room. The threats had been growing for days, but now they felt real, imminent. Someone was hunting her, and the man she had loved was already caught in the crossfire. Naomi burst through the door without knocking, her face pale but resolute. "We don't have much time," she said, grabbing Sarah's arm. "I've arranged a safe place. It's not perfect, but it's better than here." Sarah nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. She packed only what she could carry, her phone, the photo, the note, and followed Naomi into the rainy night. The city's streets blurred past them as they raced toward the car Naomi had waiting. Sarah's mind was a whirlwind of memories and questions. Why was David's brother so determined to destroy him? What secret was hidden deep within their fractured family? Could she survive the coming storm? The safe house was a small, nondescript apartment on the outskirts of the city. It smelled of dust and forgotten memories, fitting, Sarah thought, for the life she was being forced into. Naomi locked the door behind them. "We need to plan. They'll keep coming." Sarah sank into a chair, exhaustion washing over her. "Why are you helping me?" Naomi's eyes glistened. "Because David saved my life once, and because you deserve the truth." Days passed in a tense blur. Sarah and Naomi pieced together the puzzle, uncovering decades-old betrayals, hidden alliances and lies that ran deeper than either of them imagined. The brother, Lucas, was a ruthless man with powerful allies. He had built his empire on deceit and violence, and David had been his biggest threat. But there was something else, something darker, lurking beneath the surface. One night, Sarah found herself alone, scrolling through old messages David had left on her phone. One stood out: "If anything happens to me, remember this: I never stopped loving you." Tears streamed down her face. Despite everything, she felt a flicker of hope. Suddenly, the safe house phone rang. Sarah answered cautiously. A cold, unfamiliar voice whispered, "You can't run forever. Lucas knows where you are." The line went dead. Naomi slammed her fist on the table. "We have to move, now!" They grabbed what they could and slipped into the night, shadows chasing them at every turn. As they navigated the dark streets, Sarah's phone buzzed with a new message, this one from David. "Trust no one. Meet me where it all began." Her heart pounded. The past and present were colliding, and the final battle was near. At the abandoned pier, where Sarah and Naomi had first met the stranger, David waited. His face was weary but determined. "I'm sorry I left you in the dark," he said quietly, "but now we have to face this together." Sarah looked into his eyes and saw the man she once loved, the man fighting for their future. Suddenly, headlights flooded the pier. Figures emerged from the shadows, closing in fast. Sarah gripped David's hand. "This ends tonight," he whispered. The truth revealed. The cold night air bit at Sarah's skin as she stood beside David on the pier, the weight of everything pressing down on her chest. The headlights had revealed more than just faces. They revealed the end of their long nightmare. Figures emerged from the shadows, Lucas's men, cold and merciless. Sarah's heart pounded like a war drum. David's grip on her hand tightened. "Stay close," he said, voice low but steady. "We've come too far to let this end in darkness." The men advanced, but David stepped forward, unafraid. "Lucas," he called, his voice cutting through the night like a blade. "It's over." A tense silence followed. Then Lucas appeared, older, harder, his eyes filled with bitterness and regret. "You never understood, David," Lucas said, voice rough. "Everything I did was for our family. You made it impossible." David's jaw clenched. "You destroyed it." Sarah watched the brothers confront years of betrayal and pain in the cold night air. It was a moment she'd never imagined witnessing. Lucas's anger faltered. "I didn't want this to happen." "Neither did I," David replied quietly. "But it had to end." Suddenly sirens wailed in the distance. The police were coming. David had arranged it all. A final move to bring justice, not more violence. Lucas's men hesitated, then fled into the shadows. As the officers arrived, Sarah felt a strange calm settle over her. The storm was ending. David turned to her. "I'm sorry for everything you've been through, for the secrets, the lies." Sarah shook her head, tears in her eyes. "We all have shadows, but sometimes losing everything is the only way to find who you really are." David smiled faintly, hope flickering in his eyes. In the days that followed, the truth came out. Lucas faced charges, his empire crumbling. David began to rebuild, not just his life, but their family. Sarah found strength she never knew she had. The pain of loss, betrayal, and fear didn't disappear, but it shaped her into someone new. One afternoon, Sarah stood at the edge of the same pier where it had all started. Naomi joined her, the two women bound by shared struggle and survival. "We made it," Naomi said softly. Sarah nodded. "And we're stronger for it." As the sun set over the water, Sarah realized the journey had changed her forever. Sometimes the darkest storms lead us to the brightest dawns. The end.